evening, everyone, and thanks for the organizers to having me here. I'm let them bear up. So I'm very much a local boy, right? So I'm born and brought up here, lived and worked across the globe, and the organizers told me to touch upon some of the brands I represented, probably some of the innovation that's happening around us, and some of the pride of India that's been happening around the world, and again, dwell into the insurance part. So quick introduction. So I'm someone who had a different career, right? The road less traveled. I'm someone, started working since my 8th grade. I used to run a cable TV business. I worked as a steward in a hotel. And during my college days, I represented almost 15 brands: Soul Prestige, Non-Stick Cookware, Bosch and Lomb Contact Lenses, Countrywide Personal Finance. And in fact, I used to stammer during my school days. I'm a left-hander, beat and changed to a right hand. So, come a long way, but as they say, miles to go before I sleep, many more promises to keep. And in the last 23 years, I have predominantly worked in the banking, payments, fintech, in that order, right? Worked in brands like American Express, HSBC, Geo, in various global and local roles, worked and lived across India, across the globe. And what I found interesting, especially in the last 8 years, right? India has been seen as a shining star across the globe, right? There are a lot of things that is being talked about India very proudly. And one of the things is definitely the UPI payments, right? Before that, I would like to, indicate a very small incident that happened when I was in MasterCard. And we were having a training program in Dubai, right? So people from across Middle East, across APAC were there. And we were having a lunch, and they were just chatting up. And we had a couple of our colleagues from Pakistan as well, right? And, they both work in Karachi. They work in MasterCard, so they were there. And one of them was telling the other person, hey, you know what? My father, who has arthritis, wanting to visit me in Karachi. He is in Lahore, and he cannot stand in the queue and buy a railway ticket. Since you're from Lahore, can you arrange to buy one? And we were listening to it, and we were asking, why you have to stand in the queue to buy a railway ticket? And they looked around us and told us surprised and say, how do you guys do it in India? We said, log into irctc.com, right? And, and they logged in, and they were quite surprised that, people can just buy a railway ticket in a click of a button, right? And that was a sweet revenge where we have to say, you guys think that you are on par with us, but we are decades ahead of us, right? And IRCTC that time was a very pride of India, right? And right now, you see 95% of the railway ticket is booked here. And gone on the days where you have to stand in the queue, Tatkal and all those stuff. And in the last 8 years, I've seen payments is being talked about, right? UPI. I still remember in 2001, I shifted to Bangalore. And I was giving a check of my advance to my landlord. And it took 10 days to clear because it was a Chennai check. He was encashing in Bangalore. And there was a outstation check charges, right? And now fast forward, all you need to do is that open your phone, in 3 seconds, the payment is done, right? And the other person is happy to receive that way. And we are doing like probably a 10 billion transactions a month, right? And probably going beyond that. In fact, our transaction count is more than Europe, North America, South America put together. In fact, 2x of it, right? And I will narrate an incident recently I came across. So we were a group of friends driving around South Tamil Nadu. And we were on the highway, tier 3, tier 4 village, stopped by to have a tender coconut water. And there was a very old woman, in the 60s, and definitely not stepped into a school even for a day. And so we were having tender coconut water, and we saw 3 QR code placed in a small, tiny shop on the pavement side. I was quite curious, being the payments guy, why is it? And she said, you know what, I have my first son who's studying college in this town, and my second son who's doing first year college in this town. So whenever I need to send money, I use the first QR code for my first son, second QR code for my second son, and the third one is for me. I was like shocked. I was like in wow, right? So if you look at the financial literacy on payments, and that too, this is a new age method of payments, right? Mobile payments, QR code is brand new. Many parts of the world are still trying to figure out, even countries like US, how does it happen? And somebody who's not educated even for a single day has so much sharpness, right? And again, I take it like a pride because UPI is something we are exporting out of the world right now. The world is watching us and wow, by the way, we have digitized the payment. And I've been part of that journey in the last 2 decades, right? So what I mean to say is that I guess we are crossing a lot of boundaries. In fact, many local global brands also are adjusting to the Indian condition. There is something we did adjusting to the local condition elsewhere. So when I was again MasterCard in 2013, 14 or 12, I don't remember exactly, we were trying to capture market share in the Middle East, right? And we were saying, okay, how do we do that? There are 15 banks issuing cards. How to make people, ask for MasterCard instead of Visa, which is our main competition then. And and that's the time in the phone you didn't have the compass, right? The phone was not as smart as it is right now. Then we realized, hey, you know what, why don't we put a compass on the plastic? Because if you look at 95% of the people in the Middle East are of Islamic faith, they would like to pray multiple times in a day. So why don't you put a compass and make sure the compass points to Mecca, right? So it means they have to take the wallet, the card out whenever they need to pray, which is multiple times in a day, right? And that's the time a financial product which only talks to the wallet, talks to the heart and the mind as well, right? And this is a case where a global brand adjusted to the local condition to win market share, right? And, and what I've seen is that brands across the globe change the way it is for the local condition, right? Again, dwelling upon on payments. I used to work for a European company, used to go to Germany quite often. And you'll be quite surprised, before COVID, in Germany, 55% of the transaction was in cash. And I was asking about why it's so. And they said, you know what, in Germany, OPM is other own personal money. Whereas in US, OPM is other people's money, right? So they would like to borrow credit. Like in US, if you carry too much cash, either you're a beggar or a drug dealer. But in Germany, which is like the third, fourth largest economy in the world, people are happy using cash or less of credit card because they believe that they should use their own money to settle their bills. And you go a little above in Scandinavian countries that time, even before COVID, people are ready to put a chip in the palm and tap and go, like how we tap the mobile phone right now. And 95% of the transaction was in digital mode. The 5% is basically the tourists who come with the euros. And I've seen in Africa, even those times, the dawn to dusk journey payments used to happen by mobile payments. The only global case study of mobile payments was in Africa. And the interesting part is that 95% of Africa then didn't have electricity. So how do you charge a phone, right? And they used to carry that phone, which you used to do 20 years back. I'm talking about live, I've seen it 10 years back. The half-brick phone that we used to carry, where the battery lasts for a week, they used to carry that. And once in a Sunday, they used to go to the village fair and charge the phone and pay for it. And same time, I've seen in Bangladesh where people carry the SIM with them, right? And they borrow the handset, put a SIM, use it, and then give the handset back, right? So I've seen globally, everywhere things change, but what we see in India, we have actually 25 countries in one. Every 100 kilometers you travel across, you'll see different way of doing things. That is why when a famous washing machine brand found out that 1 liter washing machine was selling more in Punjab, and they realized that they were making lassis out of it, right? So we are like Jugad, right? And we've been doing that forever. And thanks to movies like Ponniyin Selvan, I have people across the globe calling me and say, hey, what is this Rajaraja Cholan? What is this Bragadishwara temple, right? And we talk about innovation. And somebody did that like almost 800 years back, right? Even now with the latest technology, advancement in engineering and technology, you don't have anything that can lift a 800 kilo dome and put it in the top of a temple, right? And no way you can carve a granite the way they carved the temple. So innovation has been around us all through many, many centuries back, and except that we lost and then now we are climbing it back again, right? And coming back, mostly on the insurance. Right, I'm new to the insurance industry. I'm like spending 14, 15 months. I'm trying to innovate, trying to differentiate how we will look at it. And one interesting thing I found out about insurance is that if you look at any other product that you buy, either it's a watch or a phone or a shoe or a handbag, you gratify it. What I mean by gratified is that you feel the use of it, right? You buy a phone, use it, everything. But if you look at insurance, it's a very crazy, interesting product. You don't gratify it. If you buy life insurance, you don't gratify, because the gratification happens after your death. Somebody else gratified. In fact, in a funny way, if you have too much of life insurance on you, many people would want you dead, right? So if you look at, you buy insurance product and wish that I don't gratify it, right? And if you look at health insurance where we are market leaders, yeah, you buy health insurance, when do you gratify it? When you are terminally ill, you are hospitalized for some serious health surgery, or there's some danger to your life. So my customer buys health insurance and wish they don't get a chance to use it. That's very bad for a B2C product, right? Because a lot of brands, I guess, CXOs, CEOs, founders would have spoken all through the day, and they would have said how they engage with the customer. So how do I engage with my customer, right? Or my peers in the industry? Because my customer buys the product, the only one time they interact with me when they have to pay the premium. And sometimes they take a 3-year cover, it means for 3 years they don't interact with me. And the second time they interact with me is when he or she has to claim for hospitalization bill, right? So it means they don't want to ideally, but given no choice they would like to. So how do I engage? That is something as an innovator, something I keep asking myself. So then I need to reposition my product as a health and wellness product, not a necessarily insurance product. So something most health insurance company trying to work around the world, there is a company called Discovery in South Africa. They've done it really well, where you keep rewarding for customer for good healthy habit. You keep rewarding them for those 10,000 steps or good sleep. They help them to enable the customer to log onto the app on how they did, what they ate, how they did the workout, and then give them points or coins, which they can redeem it for, say, a gym voucher or a sports shoe or a gym clothing or a session, So if you look at insurance, it's a very interesting product, right? And that is why if you watch a movie called Sicko, done by Michael Moore, who also did that famous Fahrenheit 11, you'll find that insurance is different in different part of the world. But in US, if you don't have health insurance, it's cheaper for you to fly to India, get operated and go back, right, than to do it locally there. But if you go to the Western welfare economies of the world, especially the Western Europe, in fact, part of my family lives in the UK, they work for NHS there. There, everything is paid by the government. Obviously, in Scandinavian countries, you pay up to 70% tax. In places like UK, you pay half of the tax. In fact, my family members in UK, they say that Jan to June, they work for the government. July to December, they work for themselves, right? But the best of education, healthcare is taken care by the government. But there's a flip side also to it. When you call up the doctor and say, I'm having some pain, they will ask whether it's serious or not. If you say not serious, they'll say come after 3 weeks. But for all you know, that could be a symptom for something serious. But you can't visit a doctor because there's a huge queue. NHS, in fact, getting choked, by the British government right now with finances and everything. But if you, again, look at, in fact, in that Sicko movie, Michael Moore will go into one of the hospitals in UK and try to search for a payment counter, and he can't find one. And finally, you will see a payment, there could be a counter, be written payment counter. So you will ask the guy in the till, do I pay here? He said, no, we pay you. And they will ask, how come, why you have to pay me? No, in case you get discharged, and if you don't have money to go home, we'll pay the conveyance for you, right? So that's how the model is in the Western welfare economies. And there's a story to it because during Second World War, most people died or most people got injured, permanent disability, and so on. So the government decided that, hey, we need to step up and we need to provide the best of healthcare to everyone. But in US, again, the director will show somebody will walk into a hospital and say, I don't have health insurance. They will just give $5 to a cabbie and say, drop him in the payment of a public hospital, right? So the health insurance or healthcare changes across the globe. In India, it's climbing up, right? In fact, I would urge either from Star Health or anyone, take health insurance. Recently, Zerodha founder said, every Indian is one step away from bankruptcy in case of a terminal illness, right? And that's how bad it is, right? Because the hospitalization cost, medical inflation has shot up, especially during COVID, we have realized, right? Because if you go in Mumbai, you go to 2 different hospitals, the cardiac surgery cost can range between 8 to 35 lakhs, right? And that's how it is. And people are paying for it, and not many people can afford for it, right? So, and if you look at also in US, if you look at any graph where people have to spend and would end up spending most of the life savings on 2 things, healthcare and education. And that's going to be the same over here as well. That's why if you look around the school fees that you pay for your kids, it's something what you pay for a year is something we spend for our lifetime, right? Lower KG to 12th standard and beyond. So, and so do the healthcare as well, because medical inflation is going up. the food habits, everything is, not right. In fact, I was giving example of someone who's not educated, who's very smart in their payment methodology. But if you look at the most educated, most urbanized, most wealthiest, their kids' birthday parties, happens in KFC, McDonald's, and so on, right? So if you look at, there is no connection between your education on other side and into your medical literacy. Otherwise, you won't allow your kids' party to happen in those places, right? In fact, I have my second kid who's got a, autoimmune disorder, or his kidney got affected and is going through treatment, and that is becoming very, very common. So to fast forward, I guess my time is up. I would say take health insurance at the most, because when you do your financial planning, right, you keep your contingency fund in case if you lose your income, that 6 months you cover up. The second thing you need to take is your health insurance. For you and your family, cover as much as possible. And I will, end up with a very interesting, fact. If you look at JP Morgan, is the largest bank in the world. They're present across the globe. And they're the most valuable bank as well. And if you look at United Healthcare, which is like our peer in the US, they do health insurance in only one country, which is the US. And United Healthcare market cap is more than JP Morgan, right? So you can understand, right? A largest bank in the world operating across the globe is less valuable than a health insurance company happening in one country, right? And something we at Star Health keep happening, then probably we should be more valuable than HDFC Bank sometime in the near future. And health insurance penetration is admissibly low in India. And most of us are covered by our employer. We think that's good enough. Think about it. You decide to start something on your own. A recession happens, your job gets restructured. You're not with the insurance anymore. And then you go to any health insurance player, us or our competitor, they don't cover your pre-existing disease. And then you have to climb it up, right? And we are a country where it's also known as a, capital of diabetic and cardiac. So go buy health insurance from whoever you feel is right? And cover your family, your elders, everyone, whether your employer provides it or not. You should have a standalone one. Yeah. And thank you very much, and enjoy your evening.